Happy Monday, everybody. Rose, I have no idea the last. Yeah. I have felt that 2025 has been like 5 years, but also it's gone by really quickly. I don't know. Feel the same? Yeah, it's like so much has happened, and you go, oh, it's only been 1 month that all of those things happened, and then that just it's like rinse and repeat every single month. You're already suddenly at the end of it, and yet if you try to recall what you've done in the last few months, it's like a bajillion things. Yeah, that's that's how I've been feeling all year. So yes, we're at the halfway point of 2025, but it's also like, wow, how many lives have we lived this year? We are going to be using the Moonology Manifestation Oracle Deck. We also used it last week, but alas, it is channeled, so that's what we're doing today. I've already picked the cards, and how I always start this out is I give everybody an opportunity to practice with your intuition. So I show the backs of each of the cards, and you can just take a few moments, take some deep breaths. And what you're trying to feel for, tap into, is which reading, collective reading number 1 or collective reading number 2, you'll resonate with more, or if you'll resonate with both of them, but just in slightly different ways. So feel free to put in the chat a 1 or a 2 or some sort of a combination. And you can also include read number 1, how the information came through. Maybe it was a visual, feeling, a knowing. Maybe you heard a sound. That's tapping into all of the different psychic clairs, which we talk about every month in our psychic development classes. And as I mentioned before, our one for June is coming up at the end of the month. Normally, it's not at the end of the month, but I had to schedule the astrology classes in a very specific way, so they ended up being back to back, even though we're covering all the way through the end of the month. All right, I'll show them one more time. Card number 1. And number 2. For context, so I'm especially curious about what you said, Nicholas. With this deck, we have the zodiac signs are included, and obviously there are earth signs. So I would be curious to see, because a couple of you have mentioned about the first card, oh, it feels grounded or it feels earthy. So I wonder if the first card is going to be an earth sign. So that'll be very interesting as a good experiment and test for yourself to see what you picked up on. If not, at least a couple of you have felt the same thing, sensed the same thing about that card. So it could be a way for you to get more grounding, or maybe it is an earth element. I'm seeing a string. It looks more like a rope. So it's in, I don't know knots, but it's one of those knots that almost looks like it's in an infinity. I've seen this before, but I'm not a nautical person, so I don't know this. But it's where it's kind of like this shape, but they're intertwined in the knot. Maybe somebody knows this. So some sort of kind of fancy knot. And so somebody was trying to pull the sides because they want to get the knot out, but that isn't going to do it. So the approach is not, pun intended, the approach is not going to work for undoing this challenge or problem or issue that has come up, because it is very, I guess, secure. And like it was a well-made knot. And so it's going to take more than just trying to tug at it. We think we're supposed to undo the knot, and actually it better serves us to keep it where it is. We just can't see its function yet. And then for other people, oh my gosh, I'm seeing tweezers. Like, okay, let me just try to fray the center part or pull this piece out. Let me see if I can get at it from there. And so it just I'm laughing because the tweezers are too small. So again, we're trying yet another strategy that doesn't feel like it's going to work. Like we have a slightly better idea, and that we're going to target the center and figure out, what can I tug from the middle that will allow it to loosen, and so I can unwind it. But tweezers is also not effective because we're going to be picking at it forever and not be able to actually grab the pieces of the sections of the rope to make the progress that we want. So does that mean that the knot is just not meant to come out this week and we just have to keep it in place? It just came in like YES, all caps. Like there's some people that are just going to understand like to leave the knot alone. And then others that are trying to tackle it in a bunch of different ways, but it's not exactly panning out. But does that mean that for the people who are trying to separate it, that it also is going to serve them? They don't realize it. Not necessarily. So there's a clear distinction. There's a camp of people who keeping the knot there, it's going to pay off later. It's something that is helping them build or create or do something. Even though it looks like it's a challenge, it looks like it's an obstacle, it feels really important that it's happening and you just kind of allow it to play out. And then for the other group of people, they're like trying to figure out strategies to resolve it, and they're all ineffective tactics. So all of a sudden it kind of clicks the way to solve it, but it feels like it takes many, many iterations and it doesn't happen contained within this week. And then there's others where you're trying to get it out, even going into next week. And you know what? You might just kind of circle back into that original camp of maybe it was just better to leave it. I put in all this effort trying to undo it, and it was me fighting change, or yeah, it feels like it's that. Last quarter moon in Pisces. Talk less, feel more. Last week, I rewatched Hamilton, the musical. So for anyone that's familiar, and it's just me. There's a quote in it, talk less, smile more. So it's just making me think of that, which is so funny. And in this case, we're talking about some sort of a challenge that has cropped up, and we're reflecting on it, and we're trying to say, okay, well, I want to start a new beginning, but we feel blocked. We're trying to undo this knot. So from this perspective, that totally makes sense. When you have Pisces in here, Pisces is a water sign. It's very intuitive. It's creative, has some gullible tendencies and escapist tendencies. So because Pisces is very, very empathic and really, really connected holistically, sometimes it can get to the point of being overwhelmed. And that feels like it's picking up for that group of people who were trying to undo the knot, and really they were resisting the change that was happening, and they should just be allowing it. So there's different ways that people are approaching and reacting to this knot. And so you can fit into each of these three different camps. And I think the degree of trusting your intuition feels highest for the first two groups. So those who just are trusting that the knot maybe is just meant to be there, and in fact it is. And then for others who are just trusting that they are meant to resolve it and that they will find the right way to do it, and they're trusting the process, and then they undo it. It's the last group that's not. That feels more of the low vibration of Pisces, where they're trying to undo it because it's like the escapism piece, because they're trying to avoid it. They don't want to deal with the challenge, so they're trying to undo it and like make it go away. but it's not supposed to go away. It is something that they're supposed to confront and learn from. You can have intuition, which is coming from above or from out something way outside of you, energy around you, but you can lean on your intuition to ground you. Fast car. So it looks to me like a red. This is funny. It's giving off the vibe of a sports car, but it looks like one of those Beetles, the buggy beetle car. Red. So it's more powerful and more passionate, more driven, ferocious than what is presented, what people think. It's about what's under the hood. That's kind of how it's coming in. It feels like the car is ready. It's like packed up and ready because it's fueled up. It's ready to go on some sort of a journey, but they're packing light. This either is only a day trip or a couple days. This isn't a long stay, or it's about the resourcefulness of not overpacking or not trying to be lighter on your feet and more fluid. Full moon in Aquarius, be real. So Aquarius is an air sign. And a full moon is that culmination piece. So it's the thing that we are manifesting. I find this very interesting because I would have thought, oh, we're like about to go on a journey, that should be a new moon card because new moons are about beginnings. And I'm not seeing other people. It feels like it's your journey, it's your thing that you're doing. But it feels like you could be going somewhere where there are other people, like depending on how long you stay there. So I don't know. Okay. Full moons are about the culmination piece. It's something that you've manifested, something coming to fruition. Aquarius is very people focused, structure focused. How are things being distributed? It's humanitarian. It's also an innovator. How can we do something? How can we do something new? Maybe that's just enough in picking it up. How can we do something new and something different? How can we rebuild? Because maybe the current systems that we have aren't 100% working. There's too much of a hierarchy going on. It does feel like you're getting in this car and where you are going, there's going to be other people. Like there's a group or family or for whoever, community that you are connecting to, you are collaborating with. I'm just seeing like collaboration. It actually feels like the why is more important. Like, why is it that we're going on this trip? Especially when we know to pack light. So the mission for this week is not, well, I have to prove to everyone that I am a fast car, even though they think I'm just the Beetle. Not the mission. The mission is the collaboration. The mission is where you are taking your car. The fact that you are packing light. That is whatever the actual mission is. And if along the way people happen to change their perception of you and recognize who you are authentically, great. But with Aquarius, it's less focused on the individual. Sister sign is Leo. That's me. How can I stand out from the crowd? Aquarius is about the coming together. We often can forget, or take a step back on how am I contributing as an individual? You're just focusing on contributing to the group, being a part of the group, being a part of the mission. Thursday through Sunday or Friday through Monday is the bulk of the time where we are in community. Full moon in Gemini, embrace the flow of life. These feel very complementary to each other. What we've been talking about with this second reading, this packing light. If you're packing light, it's so that you can be flexible, that we can see where the journey is taking us. Full moon in Aquarius was the first card. Full moon in Gemini is the second card. Both of these as air signs are very people focused. With Gemini, it's more about the communication, the teaching, or learning as well. Like Gemini wants to be a student, a researcher to understand, often understanding or sharing or connecting through speaking, talking, gossiping, etc. So we're focusing on ourselves as an individual versus / within the group with Aquarius. And then with Gemini, we are in community. By the end of the week, I was saying by the end of the week, we are in community. Community is Aquarius, but we are conversing with everyone. We are connecting. We are collaborating with everyone. Because you could be going somewhere, I should say this. It doesn't necessarily mean that you are taking a car somewhere because you are the car. You could be taking a bus. You could be walking, taking a bike, taking a plane, whatever it is. It's just you. It's about you going to whatever this other place is with other people. And depending on your why, you can decide to take it where you want to go. And if you are just following your energy, following your calling, following what will support the mission or support your intellectual expansion, your understanding, your connection with other people, then you can make choices accordingly. We immediately tug at the sides. We want to undo the knot because this knot is representing some sort of a challenge or obstacle that is presented to us. So we want to undo it. And what happens throughout this week is we fall into one of 3 different camps. The first camp tugs at the knot and goes, well, we'll just see what happens. Because maybe the knot will undo itself. Or maybe they will learn, and they're trusting this process, that maybe they really need this obstacle. They need to work through this, just let things play out as they're going to play out, and that there'll be a sense of gratitude for that experience. So they kind of just do one tug and they're like, all right, whatever. Let's just have this go as it's meant to. The second group tries to undo the knot. And over the next 2 weeks, so not even just this week, because they are unsuccessful in undoing the knot, is the shorthand version. But they're going to try different tactics. So first I was seeing the tug. The second is they had tweezers, and they're trying to pull the knot out from the middle, but they're using tweezers, which is not practical, and all we're going to do is kind of fray the rope for a little bit. Maybe they end up trying scissors. Maybe they end up trying pliers. So it's like tweezers, but a more appropriate tool to pull the rope apart. They use trial and error because they are trusting themselves in knowing they can get through this, they can untangle the knot and get to the other side, and eventually they will. It's just going to take a little bit longer. And then we have the third camp, who's also trying to undo the knot actively. And what happens is it's really not working, and they are not meant to undo it. It's the lower vibrational energy. They were trying to undo the knot, and it's because they didn't want to deal with this challenge. They don't want to experience change as a result of it. They kind of want it to just go away. And all of the above aligns with our card. Last quarter moon in Pisces. Talk less, feel more. Pisces is heavy on the intuition. So when we're talking about trusting the process, feel more. So we are trusting this is meant to happen, ride the wave, water sign. We're meant to just go through this. This will pan out as it's supposed to. Trusting in our intuition as well, that we will get through it by feeling our way through it, by trying different things. Or the lower vibrational side, which is we are trying to escape. We are avoidant. Do you want to be connected to the collective? Do you want to lean into trust? Or do you want to be resistant? Those are your choices and how quickly you get to those choices. Now we have our second reading. In our second reading, we were the fast car, as in literally Tracy Chapman fast car came into my head. And we look like we are a red beetle. So from the outside, we look one way, but on the inside, we are fiery, ferocious, passionate, driven, and therefore we are underestimated. So we're starting off from this place of being underestimated. Maybe a specific event happens where someone is basically saying to you something that's indicating that they are underestimating you. Or it's just maybe how you're feeling in life in general. And what we are doing is we have fueled up the car. So the car is you. So you are fueled up, but you are traveling somewhere. You're going somewhere. You're packing light, though. This could be a day trip on whatever mode of transportation or just your body. You walk somewhere, you run somewhere. You're packed light. And you understand your why. You understand the reason that you need to go. And wherever you're going, it's either because you're leaving or because you're moving towards something. But regardless, where you are headed towards has people, it has community. You are on your way to connect with others for a greater mission. This week, it's about you connecting to your authenticity. So regardless of whether people are continuing to underestimate you or not, or have a change of heart by the end of the week because now all of a sudden they're seeing you for who you really are, that's just a bonus. It's not the point of the week. The mission is about you knowing your why and going and connecting with others to collaborate. And the packing light component was to ensure that you are flexible through that entire process so that you can embrace the flow of life. So we have our two cards. Full moon in Aquarius, be real. This is about authenticity, about connecting to others, being in community. We're moving towards that connection. So this was corresponding to we're packing our car up ourselves and we are ready to join community. Coming as we are, understanding our why. So it's our principles, what's important to us, separate from the group. And then we had full moon in Gemini. So then once we get there, now we are connecting with other people. This was days 5 through 7 of the week, which depending on your time zone is Thursday or Friday through Sunday or Monday of this week. This is when you are in community. You are connecting, you are learning, you're collaborating, you're sharing, you're teaching, and you're staying flexible. Embrace the flow of life. Because whatever happens when you're in community, what you're understanding, what you're uncovering, what's sparked, you can then make decisions. You can decide to go back to where you were before or just returning home. Maybe you're still growing and you're still new. You just are physically returning to wherever it is that you came from. Or you're deciding to start a new chapter and you're trusting the flow of your life. You're trusting your inspiration. We're connecting through our own authenticity. We're just being ourselves. We're coming as we are. And then we are teaching, we are learning, we are sharing. And then we can do with that what we will. It's about trying to scope things out and to understand them. That's why we are trying to decide, or we're trying to trial and error. Do we leave this knot? Do we get rid of this knot? What is this knot? That's picking up on that. And we also have the connection. So I mentioned connection a lot for the second reading, but I wanted to raise it here. For Pisces, we're connecting to our intuition and we're connecting to collective energy, what is around us. And for our second reading, we have full moon energy, and full moon is about the culmination piece. So we're at the point of achievement, or we have received something. We're not reflecting on it. We're going. We're in flow. And these are two air signs. And air signs are also about connection, but they're about connection through people. So that is a main difference between the two readings. So that could be a good indicator for if you're trying to figure out which reading you slot into for this week. Is it more people focused? Is it more trusting yourself, trusting your intuition focused? That's the energetic difference between these. Now, could you do both of these at the same time? Could you move from one into the other? I am getting, as I ask these questions, yes, 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 yes. So let's talk this out. You are encountering some sort of obstacle that needs undoing. It's not going to get undone this week. This is an ongoing process. So you can do whatever you want as a sidebar while this is happening. And especially if you are in group number 1, You see the knot and you go, cool. And you don't do anything about it, which is what you're supposed to do. Not doing anything, just kind of following the flow of what happens. So you have plenty of bandwidth, despite the fact that there's some sort of obstacle presented, to work on the second reading at the same time. And with the second reading, if these were overlapping, like if these were happening exactly in tandem, they're starting at the same time, some sort of obstacle is presented. And you're being underestimated about maybe how you can tackle it or not. And you go, whatever, I'm going to head out in the world. And maybe you heading out and going to connect with other people is a strategy for trying to undo the knot. I'm going to seek community to help me undo the knot. And maybe that does help. Maybe you get information. You learn information that will help you undo the knot next week. That totally works. Similarly, you could decide in being honest with yourself, in connecting with other people, that you kind of have other things to attend to, and you're just going to let this play out. You're going to follow the flow of life and let this play out. So 100%, these can work on top of each other. These could work in tandem. So I agree. I agree with that sentiment. So you could be in one, you could be in the other, you could be in both. They honestly, unlike some other weeks, I think last week or the week before, one of the readings I was saying, you can only do this one because this requires so much energy. These don't feel that way. These feel lighter, especially if you end up going the route of trusting, okay, well, I'm just going to trial and error this, but I have a couple weeks. Like, we're not overexerting ourselves in this situation. Or you're just trusting this thing is happening, whatever. I'm just going to see what happens. We'll go along with it. It's not exerting too much energy. And even here, we're going on a day trip. We're going on a trip somewhere. We're packing light. We're staying agile. So I think for both of these, the reason that we have the bandwidth to do both is because they're not super high intensity.